Good morning. This is the Saturday morning marketing Smarties, and we are cruising in slowly at the just after the top of the hour because we're having our issues with the actual projection of the event itself and to broadcast live. So I've double checked it, and we are indeed broadcasting live now. And I hope some people will join us shortly. But so we're going to do it casually here for the next few minutes while people assemble and while we regroup in the new Hangout. And then we'll discuss what we are progressing on to at the moment. So as I'm setting up Command Tracker and stuff, how about we casually introduce ourselves and then we'll move on from there. My name is Roland from R&D Hotline and the sponsor and host of Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. And with me today are Karen and Molly. And Karen, would you go ahead and tell people who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Roland. My name is Karen Chin. I am a San Francisco marketing consultant and social media engager. And I know that today's topic is one that Molly has been dying to talk about for months and months and months. So I'm sure we're going to learn a lot today about SEO.
I think that's very true. And now we'll have Molly take over and introduce herself. And go ahead and give us a brief synopsis of what we are going to be working on today.
Sure. My name is Molly Geiger. The name of my agency is Design Right For You. I'm located in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm really excited about today's hangout. You guys know I work with Google on several different platforms. I'm a Google Partners Community Ambassador. I'm also a Google Small Business Community Advisor, also Rising Star in a couple of the help forums. And today we're talking about search engine optimization. And I get this a lot from business owners. You know, they come and they get a website built and think, oh, great, you know, got my website built. I'm ready to start finding customers online. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. There's a lot more we have to do to optimize for a business so that customers can find your business online. So one of those ways is search engine optimization. We're actually conducting a 3-part series. This is the first segment for search engine optimization. The second segment is going to be about local optimization, so you can try and find local customers. And the third is going to be about online reputation management. So just to kind of briefly discuss what is search engine optimization, it is a way that we optimize a website for search. And what happens is search engines, their main function is to index websites. And so the more information we can tell a search engine about a website is going to result in a better page rank. Now, we all have heard that glorious page one, number one rank that people want to achieve, and certainly, you know, that's prime real estate for business owners to have that page one, number one rank. But the algorithms written for search do not necessarily always promise a business page one, number one rank. But most of them are not written that way. It actually shares that number one position with other websites that are optimized. So going into what is search engine optimization, it is a way that we include data on the back end of a website. So this is hidden code. It's not visible to anyone looking at the website that a search engine reads. And this metadata, or this hidden code, is called metadata. Metadata deals with titles, descriptions, information such as longitude, latitude, audience, language. There's a variety of different metadata tags. I'm not going to bore you with all of them, about 50 of them. And in addition to that, we have something called search engine verifications. And what this means is we've actually taken our website and we have verified it with Google or Bing. Now, Yahoo, a few years back, you could verify it with Yahoo. That has kind of since gone the way of all good things. That's not available anymore. And then in addition to that, we have Open Graph tags, and we have Twitter cards, and we have Pinterest verification. So this is kind of getting in on the social side where a search engine reading this metadata on a website knows, hey, this person's on Facebook, this person's on Twitter, this person's on Pinterest. And then finally, we have something known as canonical links. This is important because it tells the search engine specifically this page is about homepage, this page is about a contact page or a specific page. So these are just some of the things that are going on within when a search engine is looking at a website, because you have to imagine a search engine is just that. It's not a person. It can't look at a picture and go, oh, that's a picture of a plant. So the way we handle that in the HTML world is we have something known as an alt tag. And so when a search engine looks at a website and there's a picture on it, it actually, what it does is it reads the alt tag. So it goes, oh, okay, somebody's gone in and they've inserted a picture of a flower, and they've included within that alt tag title, this is a picture of a flower. So that's how a search engine actually reads a picture. So it's knowing things like this that, from a business owner standpoint, that we have to understand that, okay, search engine reads our website totally different than, say, a person does. So with that being said, that is just kind of an overview of what search engine optimization is. There's a lot more to it, and hopefully we'll get to cover that. So over back to you, Roland.
So one of the, sorry about that, I need to clear my throat. One of the things that is apparently, I'm very aware of, is that there are so many terms regarding what's going on that it's going to go right past people, and they're going to realize, I've heard that before, but I don't know what it means. So we're going to probably have to slow down in places, and I will be interrupting you and interjecting that please explain this or please explain that. And one of the things that you mentioned was canonical links, and that has to do with referring to duplicate content and trying to focus people on working on what's most important in their website. So would you just take a pause a second and cover what the concept, why there's duplicate content, what is duplicate content, and why people will be concerned with canonical links or rel equal canonical, and possibly touching bases on redirects also regarding people flowing to the pages. Is that too much of a mouthful, or?
No, sorry, I just had a situation going on here in the office. So duplicate content is just that. It's going out and either copying something off of somebody else's website, or maybe you've got something on your Facebook page that you copied and you pasted on your website. So the reason and this is actually written within one of the algorithms, which we'll get into the algorithms later. It basically is a rule that you're not allowed to do duplicate content, because what Google's trying to do is they're trying to create and present an optimum experience for a user. Meaning we don't want to go out this content or take something you've already posted somewhere else and put it on your website. So whenever they came, and I'll go over the algorithm later, but this algorithm, what happens is if it recognizes that there is duplicate content on your website, you get penalized for search results. And there's several different other facets that these algorithms cover, but to answer your question, duplicate content is not allowed, it's frowned upon, don't do it. Regarding canonical links, those links actually what they do is they identify each different page. So, and this goes in also to sitemaps and robot files, but we want to create a good user experience. And so the more information we're able to tell a search engine about our website, the better page results we're going to get. And this ties into not only the metadata that I referred to, but it also ties into penalties, meaning we need to manage our penalties within Search Console. And we also need to make sure and utilize all the different tools we have, such as Google Analytics, meaning we can actually take and set up a Google Analytics account. It's totally free. You go in, set it up, set your website up, you add your website as a property, and then from there you get a snippet of code. And the snippet of code you're actually able to bring in, place within the head tag, and then track. Well, who's visiting my website? Where are they coming from? What time of day are they visiting? What pages are they landing on? What page are they interested in? And this is where we can actually monitor the behaviors that are going on our website, and we can modify our website based on these behaviors. So, for example, let's say you've got your analytic code installed on your website, and you're looking at it, and you notice something called a bounce rate. Okay, well, what's a bounce rate? Let me tell you what it is. Bounce rate is the amount of time that is measured when somebody's on a page. So, for example, if you have a high bounce rate on, say, your home page, 60, 70, 80%, what that tells me is that people are landing on the page, but they're not staying on the page. And that's a problem, because that means that whatever you have on your home page is not interesting. They're going to the web page and they're going, okay, I see it, next. So if we know that we have a high bounce rate, our job as a business owner is to go, well, what can we do to fix that bounce rate? How can we take that bounce rate and reduce it to where they stay on the page? And this is where we get into content management. You know, what's on the home page? Do you have a video? Do you have pictures? Do you have a bunch of text? Do you have a contact form? You know, what is it that's on your home page? And this is relevant to all pages.
Okay, quick question.
Yep.
Relevance and content, so forth. When we talk about, I'm going to go back to duplicate content again, because I have a question. If you have a blog and the blog page that is generated is included in two different categories, does that mean that that's duplicate content? It has a specifically different URL because it's listed through a different category. So people who are listing blog pages and they have multiple categories, are they generated duplicate content?
Right. So it's one of these things that when you have a blog separate to your website, you want to make sure and keep the content on both unique. This goes back into duplicate content again. You can't go and post something on your blog and then turn around and post it right back on your website. That is considered duplicate content. It's a
but here's the thing. Specifically, if people are generating one blog page, but they're including it in two categories within the WordPress setup, are they generating two pages of content? I mean, it's a unique URL because of the category listing. So what I need to know is, like, if I include a page and include it in two categories, am I screwing myself by generating two separate pages, duplicate content?
Yes,
I don't know.
It is duplicate content. It's a pretty straightforward concept. It doesn't matter if you put it within separate categories. It's still the same text. So you're
Right.
still generating duplicate content because you're taking that same blog post, even though it's in a totally different URL, totally different category. It's still duplicate content. It's the same thing.
If people are blogging and they want to say, I'm going to list this page in my uncategorized or my generic folder so I can retrieve all my blog posts by one link, and then they say, but I want a specific category to really section it down to deliver the micro category or the subcategory, they are really performing the wrong action within their WordPress setup.
Yep.
Okay, so that's something to learn. Do not categorize your blog posts in more than one category. Thank you very much. That's my takeaway for the day.
Sure, no problem.
Back to you.
But going back into what I was talking about in terms of Google Analytics, it's a great way to measure what is going on with your traffic. I was talking about bounce rate. We have something also known as an exit rate, which is a little bit different. But more or less what we're trying to do is we're trying to present a good user experience whenever somebody is on our website. And so with that being said, some of the other things that we can do to make sure that we're delivering a good user experience is to make sure we're not getting any penalties. Now you're like, what's a penalty? Okay, well, let me explain what a penalty is. A penalty is something that the website is doing or is configured to do that goes against what we call our algorithms. And algorithms, there's 4 of them right now. There's Panda, Penguin, Hummingbird, and Pigeon. And these algorithms address different things. So, like the duplicate content. That was one of the reasons why these algorithms were written, because they were saying that people were going out and reposting the same content. Well, that's not going to deliver a good user experience, and that's why it was decided that, I think it was back in 2012 that they started these algorithms up, that we don't want that. We don't want a user to go to our website and find duplicate content in an uncategorized area and then turn around and go to a categorized area and see the same the same information. That's not a good user experience. They're not learning from that. So there's several different things that that also play into a good optimized website. Page speed, that's very important to be able to have your website delivered within literally microseconds. I know just for myself, the websites that I host, they all download in 0.3 of a second or faster. Also, to make sure that the website is mobile friendly. That's a huge thing now. There is actually a penalty if your website is not mobile friendly. There's another penalty that can be assessed if you don't have a security certificate. So it's one of the things that we have to, there's a lot to search engine optimization. That's why if you're not familiar with all the different ins and outs and facets of it, it's really best to consult a person who is, because it's one of these things, it's something, it takes time. It's not something like you just flip on the flip on a light switch and poof, your website is optimized. It takes different strategies and time frame in order to make sure that the website is optimized.
Hey Molly, Carl actually had a question or a comment that he wanted more information that you could hopefully provide. And Roland actually has it, so let me post it up here. It says basically, would you address the possible severity of Google search index penalties for duplicate content as a possible percentage of overall website's rating?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it definitely plays into how a website's going to rank, because of the fact that, again, going back to what Google's trying to do, they're trying to present a good user experience. So anything that goes against what they've set forth as best practices is going to penalize the website. Now, we have something known as manual penalties versus different penalties that can be assessed, but pretty much, if you have duplicate content, not mobile friendly, there's no security certificate, these are all different things that these algorithms address. So we can make sure that when a user lands on your website, it does deliver a good user experience.
One thing that I wanted to kind of approach to and clarify, when we're talking about penalties, let's say that we're pre the penalty stage, but now Google has adjusted their algorithm and decided we can't do something anymore. So when the penalty gets levied, do we actually get pushed down by Google and lowered in the ranks, or is everyone else going to do better and we just stay where we are, and gradually the other people, because of their outranking us and doing better, outperforming us, we gradually drop down? But is Google actually taking us and giving us a shove and saying, no, we're going to take you from page 2 to page 3?
Actually, that's a really good point, and the answer is yes. That's why when you see these algorithm updates come out, like I think Penguin's getting ready to update soon, but I see this quite often where people riding along and they're happy, they're on page 1. They may not be page 1, number 1, and then an update comes out, and then they're gone. They disappear, and they're like, what happened? I don't understand. In fact, there was actually a question in the Google Partners community a couple weeks back about this, saying, hey, my clients' websites were doing great, and then all of a sudden, what happened to them? And so there was an update that happened late last year. So, but it's one of those things that, yeah, it's pretty much, that's why search engine optimization is something it's a daily thing. You have to go out and make sure, are there any updates? Has anything shifted? And make sure that your website, or if you're optimizing other people's websites, to make sure that you are in compliance. And that's why Search Console is such a great tool. It's free. You can sign up for it, because that's exactly what it does. Search Console, you can actually, if you're not sure, you don't want to wait for Search Console to go get your website, you can actually go fetch it, meaning it will just stop and go and fetch your website, do a quick review. If you have any penalties, it'll show right up in your Search Console. Most of the time, I've seen things like soft 404s, just minor things, but sometimes, we have other things that may happen. There may be server errors. There's just honestly, we could do a whole show just about penalties, and that wasn't really the purpose of today, okay. But yeah, but my
takeaway number 2 is that Google actually will shove your website ranking down, and you will get a negative charge to your ranking, not just a neutral and let other people beat you out, but you're actually the penalty is a legitimate penalty. Is actually lowering wherever you were, disregarding everybody else. You're going to get lowered regardless.
Yeah, and you know that page one search results is very competitive, you know, especially depending on the industry. Like, you know, I've got a lady here locally. She's a bail bondsman. It's incredibly competitive. You know, lots of competition to get that page one spot. And when I optimized her website, it took like a year before she finally showed up on page one. And even though she's on page one, that's no guarantee that she'll be there tomorrow. You know, with these penalty updates, or excuse me, algorithm updates, they change. So that's why it's the job of a SEO professional to stay on top of current trends.
Molly, so back to that comment about updating. How often should you be updating? You know, being on the lookout for these updates. I mean, is there something that Google announces that it's coming soon and people kind of get themselves ready for it, or is it just on a weekly basis, you're just, you know, looking at the data through analytics and trying to figure out what needs to take place and looking at your competition?
Sure. So for me, I check daily. I have
Been a freeze up until now. There's been a freeze up until now. Until now, you were
algorithms.
sorry, Molly. We went through a freeze until I just mouthed off to you right now.
Oh, sorry.
So
Okay, so I'll restart.
Seconds.
So for me, I check daily. I have my Google alerts set up for each of the different algorithms. So meaning if there's any type of article or news or anything going on with any of the algorithms, I get a message in my Gmail saying, hey, something happened with Panda, or hey, they're going to be announcing something soon, just so I can stay in the know. I think for most SEO professionals, that would be best practices is to have something set up daily. But you know, it depends on the person you work with, and that's actually a good point, Karen. Is who are you working with? How do you know the person you're working with is qualified to optimize your website?
Another freeze, another freeze, another freeze, another freeze, another freeze. We are cold, getting colder. Bit of a freeze. We've been freezing for about 15, 20 seconds, Molly, so let's see what happens here.
Sorry, did I freeze up again?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
And
sorry about that.
I'll let you collect yourself there, but let me take a brief break, and I need to interject before the hour gets away. We have a lot of people with us. Nancy Marie Stubbs came over, and Kathy Pop, Gary Wayland, Barbara Quick, glad to see you. Carlos Savio, of course, David McRae is here. Stellian Mezin is here, and Bob Ingram is here. And also we have a Mike Shaler in the audience. Thank you very much for showing up. And I apologize for the ping-ponging effect of jumping events from the old event to the new event. But that's just something that Google is doing to us lately, and so forth. But anyway, Nancy came in and said regarding what we're producing here, glad to hear it in plain English. And I agree. And part of my job is to take things and somewhat translate them so that the average person can equate what it is that Molly, that you're saying, and say, oh, this is what it means to my website, or this is what it means to my strategy or my campaign, or the tools that I'm using, how I need to adjust, or my content. And so those are the important things. Bob Ingram plants in the content here. I like Moses' explanation of duplicate content. And so if you want to do this research here, here's an article that you can read and get that link out of the comment stream. And thank you very much, Bob, for being here and for contributing in the stream there. And I like Barbara's question here, so we'll actually insert this. Is a security certificate something that must be bought? And I can answer that, or you can, Molly.
Yes. The security certificate is something that you buy. It usually is an annual fee, depending on who your service provider is.
And I can tell you, for instance, a single fee is anywhere from $50 to $50 to $100 or so. For 2 sites, it's usually about the same price. They often have packages where 3 or more sites you can get a lot of security clearance certificate for about 150, $140, and get anywhere up to 100 websites all in your one security certificate coverage. So research it before you do that. If you got 3 or 4 sites, you should go with a multiple site certificate.
So Roland and Molly, what does it actually get you in terms of a quote unquote certificate? I mean, I could have like an adult site, and is that security certified? I mean, what does that actually mean?
I'll let you answer this one, Molly.
What does it actually mean? I mean, it could be anybody. I could write a check for anything and actually get security certified.
Yeah. So going back to that, it's the reason Google wants your website to have the security certificate is to know that when somebody lands on it, there's not going to be any phishing or malware or scams, things of this nature where it's maybe content that's not on the up and up. So because there's certain requirements you have to have in order to get a security certificate. So it's just, again, part of a good user experience. In fact, I saw a recent update for Gmail that if a website does not have a security certificate, that is going to show a little broken link, meaning this website is not secure, meaning enter at your own risk. There's a thing called World of Trust. It's something that you can use to actually see the trustworthiness of a website. It's a tool that I use. That actually brings me into these verifications. I know I kind of quickly touched upon it. There's a couple more that we can look into. Alexa, World of Trust. These are a couple more verifications I recommend in addition to, yes, Google and Bing.
I wanted to add the concept of the security certificate. They add a simple vetting of the company that's applying for a certificate, and basically they want to know you are a real company, you're doing real business, and you have legitimate content on the internet. And so when they give you a secure certificate, it's like vouching for the fact that you are a real thing and you're not some scam slammer that's out there trying to make a buck off of nothing. You're actually providing a legitimate service and a product or whatever, and the secure certificate is one step closer to assuring that that is true.
But could a company pay for a certificate and then, not be on the up and up and
Absolutely.
and do malware and all that good stuff? I mean, how often does the company that provides that certificate go back and look? I mean, I'm sure it's an annual fee, as you mentioned, but are they looking at it on a quarterly basis to make sure that this site is on the up and up?
They kind of require the feedback of the users too, but as soon as they get feedback from the users, that's going to look at they're going to review that and say, let's see, we've issued this certificate, so we have been paid to vouch for this company, and if they don't qualify, we need to question the certification. And so no, they're not going to leave you with the certificate if you don't qualify. If you get enough negatives, they're going to take you right down. They're going to probably sink your website too.
Well, and I think that goes back to online management or online reputation. How does Google look at your website? How do your customers or your potential leads look at your website? Is it legitimate? Does it provide information? Does it answer questions? Does it address what they're searching for, whether it's a product or a service or an answer? This is their whole goal, is to make sure that the websites that are on the up and up and are legitimate and are serving customers to either answer questions about products or services or subjects, that they are on the up and up. So, and that actually goes into some of these companies that they say, oh, we can get you on page 1, number 1 of Google. All you got to do is pay us, $1,000 up front, and we got you covered. And then the business owner is like, okay, well, I paid my $1,000. Where's my website? Nothing happened. And I've seen this happen time and time again. I actually did a couple of hangouts about it last year. For the first time last year, Google actually sued one of these companies claiming that they were these SEO professionals, because basically they were just ripping the business owner off. They were coming in, and I'm sure you guys have gotten these phone calls. You know, you get a phone call, they come in regularly saying, hey, you know, we can get you on page 1, number 1 of Google. All we need to do is, you know, they go through the whole spiel that they go through, and it's one of those things that a business owner has to be very, very careful about who they work with in terms of a search engine specialist. They have to have a good knowledge of, well, what should this person even know? And I actually did a post 3 weeks back about a series of questions that, and I'll post it to the event page, questions that a business owner can use to actually kind of pre-qualify this search professional to see if they even know what it is they're talking about. And I think that right there is a good technique for business owners to protect themselves, because, you know, I mean, I get this a lot. You know, it's kind of like we're talking, this is like so technical and I don't understand this. All I know is I need to be on page 1. I know this, but I don't know how to do it. So you have to rely on somebody who does know how to do it. But then how do you know that person's legitimate? How do you know that they can actually do what they say they can do? And this is actually something I've seen just throughout my entire career. Now, I've come up with a way to address this. I mean, I have a portfolio, so I can say, hey, you can go check out this person, this website I optimize. I'll do a page source. I'll actually go in and say, see, here's all the metadata that I've added, or here's the verifications I've added. And, you know, I have the ability to do that. But to a business owner, that they may be like, okay, well, I don't know this person. I don't know if they can do what they can say they can do. It's very important to make sure you have those questions. You have an idea that, hey, I can actually trust this person. And I would actually add to that, if you're thinking about hiring an SEO professional, ask them. Ask them for case studies. Ask them for, you know, show me some results. Show me something you've done to show me that you can actually optimize my website for search. And if they are a true, legitimate professional, they will have no problem sharing that information with you.
By the way, my weather in Southern California is like a summer day, so I have a pretty good connection. But the people in the audience are experiencing technical difficulties, and they are abounding. So I'm sorry about that, and I hope the replay is worth it. And we're covering a lot of information, and it's a bit scattered, but it is really, really valuable. So I hope that you're getting something out of it, and able to watch in the replay. Hopefully it won't have all these snags in the replay. So just to clarify what these 3 sessions are about, we're about halfway through our first one. Our first one is going to be focusing, and that's the rest of today, on search engine optimization. And then next week we're going to deal more with local search optimization. So you can maybe get ready for next week if you're concerned with your local search. And then the following week we're going to really focus on reputation management and reputation optimization. So, and that is the key to the whole thing, but it comes back around to the point that you've got to start off offering a good service or product that's worthy of being on page 1, and that you are supporting, and therefore there's something to optimize. You can't just be on page 1 because you've found something to sell. And even if you found a great product to sell, how good a vendor are you on, how good a purveyor are you of the product or service, and then your reputation is what's going to sell the product. The product they can get anywhere. The internet will tell them a dozen places to get it, 100,000 places to get it. But if they're going to buy it from you, it's your reputation that matters, and that's what you're developing online, doing with your website and your social media and your video productions and those things. And that is your reputation. So that's what we're talking about today, and 3 sessions won't even cover it, but we're going to try.
Hey, Molly, I think Mike Scaler, I hope I'm saying your last name right, he actually had a comment, Roland, if you want to put it up, that going back to our topic of duplicate content, maybe that's what the show should be about today. How about a Twitter or Facebook feed embedded in your website? Is that considered duplicate content?
No, that is not considered duplicate content because of the fact that it's a feed, so it's drawing from a different social source. In fact, I actually recommend that people do include their social feeds There's a tool out there called Add This. You go check it out, addthis.com. They have a free version. They have a paid version. But what I really like about it is you can actually take your social profiles, Facebook, fan page, Twitter, LinkedIn. You might be on Google Plus, Pinterest, YouTube. These are all different ones that you can include. And you go in and you configure your Add This account to your profile, so it's specific to your accounts. And then from there, it comes up with this, what I call a widget, but it's a snippet of code. You copy it, put it within the head tag of your website. Personally, I like to put all of my JavaScripts and things of this nature right towards the beginning of the ending head tag. But what happens is once you get that configured, you have something known as a social follow and a social share bar that shows up on your website. And it's a really neat tool because not only does it pull information, like say if somebody's on your website, they say, oh, I wonder if this person's on Facebook, or I wonder if this person's on LinkedIn. The social follow and share bar actually follows the page, meaning even if the person decides, oh, I'm going to scroll down to the end of the page here and see what's going on, and that social share and follow bar, and you can configure it either to be on the top or the left. I mean, you have options whenever you're in there configuring it where you want it to show up. But I think it's a great tool to actually build your credibility, because then if somebody's on your website, say, I don't know, you're selling a red t-shirt and they really, really like this red t-shirt, they can actually go click Facebook. It's going to open up and they can actually share that page from your website on Facebook and kind of broadcast whatever it is they like on your website to their social audience. So no, it is not considered duplicate content. Yes, it is a good idea to include your social profiles on your website.
So back to that comment then, Molly, when you were saying about blogs, and I think with the beginning of our conversation today, we were talking about duplicate content and putting a blog link into your website. I mean, what could people do so that it could separate it? Because people have blogs and they have their website and they would like to have the two of them, so they won't be penalized. Is there something? Could you use Add This to help you with not having the penalization of your blog link on your website?
Well, I don't think it's really about using Add This on a blog. I mean, it really just has to do with literally the content that is being written. So, I mean, if you have a paragraph of text that you've written and you've shared it on your blog, certainly you could embed that blog onto your website. But then if you were to take that same paragraph of content and, say, put it on your website, then at that point it would be considered duplicate content, because you've literally taken that exact same phrase or paragraph or whatever it is that you shared on your blog and put it on your website, and then that is kind of going against the rule of duplicate content. Basically, you can have a blog on a website, you can broadcast your blog, it's just we want to make sure that the content, the information, whatever text or whatever it is you're sharing is different on both.
So I have a question with that, because I've been teaching people to have their own blog and their own website via WordPress. So is there any advantage at all to having a separate blog on a blogspot.com or something like that? I don't see it, but is there anything that I don't see that might be a better idea to have that separate blog that is not on your website?
Personally, I don't see there being an advantage of having a different blog. I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt if you want to. But I don't. There's no SEO traction because you have a blog on a separate, Blogger or WordPress or whatever platform you use.
So I just can't figure out why people would do it. I don't. I have every website design that I'm working on. I built the blog right in because it's WordPress, and they have the blog right there and handy. I know people that used to charge, I'll only charge you $200 to add a blog to your website. It's already built into the format. It just kind of blows my mind. But,
I think one of the things about having a blog is that somebody can log in and they can quickly share whatever it is they're blogging about that day, and it shows up on the website versus having to have a totally separate link. This is kind of digressing a little bit from what we were supposed to talk about today, but I'll just quickly address it. So, that's kind of the whole point of social media. Okay, social media are different platforms, just like a blog is a different platform. So at the same time, we want to broadcast to social media, we want to broadcast to our blogs, but we just want to make sure that the content that we're posting on our blog or social media is not the exact same thing that we're posting on our website. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay.
The hour is getting away from us, no doubt.
Yeah.
But maybe before we can regroup here briefly. You wanted to talk about domain authority and robots and those things. But also I wanted to show some search examples and have you comment on them and tell people what we're seeing and when we look at a search result from Google. So could I display a few things and have you do a commentary on what we're showing? And hopefully I'll be showing you some decent examples.
Sure.
Would that be okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so let me do a screen share as soon as I get done. Let's see. Let's do, this will be fun. Okay, so I'm going to share a search that I did for red licorice. And so if you would give us an idea of what we're looking at here.
Sure. So what we're looking at here is a search. The search shows paid advertising, it shows organic advertising, and it shows Google Shopping. And Google Shopping is a platform that's kind of tied in with Google, where advertisers, if they want to optimize their campaign to be included in search results for shopping, that's what you're seeing over there on the right-hand side, where you see all the different pictures. Now, at the very top, where it says "Buy Licorice Online," that is a pay-per-click AdWords advertisement. That is something if a business decides they want to get that one right there, if they want to be at the very top, that has to do with AdWords management. It also has to do with, again, how competitive the industry is. Obviously, this one's not very competitive. There's only one paid advertisement showing up. I've seen other search results, though, where, you know, there's like 6, 7, 8, 9 different paid advertisements showing up. Those results with paid advertising has to do with the management of the campaign and how it's being managed, and that honestly is a whole nother conversation.
So the buy ads are not limited to 3 search results?
Yeah, I thought it was just 3 in terms of
That's
ads.
for local optimization, and this particular search is not showing any local results. Normally what you would see is you would see paid, local, organic, and then if there's any shopping, it would display on the right like that. So this particular example doesn't have any local results, probably because, you know, red licorice, that's not really a local, you know, thing.
Right, right.
You know, it's more of an online or a national type platform. But yeah, so this one we're looking at paid, organic, shopping, and no snack pack. There's no local optimization results on this particular search.
So real quickly, we're going to move on to 2 others that are more local in nature. And this next one is a chiropractor. So here's a chiropractor result. What do we see here?
Sure. So in this one, what we see paid advertising again at the very top, and then you'll see another paid advertisement, advertisements on the right-hand side. Then when you scroll down, where you see the map there and the first 3 results, that is considered local results or the snack pack. Now, right, the first 3 right there where it has the little website and directions. So those come from, actually, there's a variety of different resources that comes from, and that's actually what we're going to address in next week's Hangout is how do we get in the snack pack? What do we have to do to optimize our business to get in the snack pack? Now, it used to be that 7 results would happen, excuse me, for local optimization. That changed a while back to where now it's only 3. So you can imagine it's getting more and more competitive to show up for the snack pack. And then below that,
have the more places, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it's going to show
more
more places that's optimized for local, but it's not going to, you know, all of those results you're seeing there are not in the initial first 3 that get displayed.
Right.
So as a business owner, we want to figure out, well, what can we do to make sure our website shows up right there in the snack pack?
Okay.
And
so is that okay?
I was just saying, lastly, what you're looking at are your organic on-page results. Those are websites that have been optimized for search. They've got their metadata, robot file. I haven't even gotten into that. We're getting the hour, and I really kind of wanted to touch on that because it's important to mention. But yeah, so paid, local, organic is what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
So
Plus,
Molly, so I was going to say, is
go ahead.
Molly, is in terms of getting to this, is it also, I know we could talk about this probably in the next week, is also keywords that you're listed on your page so that it could help you get onto page one?
Well, that's an interesting question. Keywords a few years back were a big rank factor. That's not necessarily the case anymore. You can have keywords. You can have between 10 and 15 keywords, and it literally means words. Like you can't use long tail keywords and consider that one keyword. They literally mean 10 words or up to 15 words. You're not going to get penalized if you stay within that number. Now, if you go above 15, you will get penalized. That's known as keyword stuffing. And this is a mistake I see business owners making. They'll go in and they'll put, 20, 25, 30, think, the more keywords I put in there, the better page results I'm going to get. No, that is a myth. That is not true. You actually get penalized for that. What we are looking for, and this is where I'm going to segue into the page authority and domain authority, is that is one of the ranking factors that Google looks at on why you are showing up at the top of organic results. So domain authority has to do obviously with the domain. It has to do with the quality of it, what the age plays into factor. If a business owner uses, like, say, their industry, like, for me it's design, right? So I'm using the word design, website design. So that has something to do in terms of domain authority. And then we have page authority. There is actually a tool that Moz offers. It's free, where it's a little thing you can add to your browser. I use Chrome, so I don't know if everyone out there is using Chrome, but you can go download the tool. It's free, and it will actually tell you this is the domain authority of this website, or this is the page authority. And we go into what is page authority. Page authority is similar to domain authority. The only difference is we're looking at a page. Again, it goes back to content. It goes back to the quality of it. Is it answering questions? Is it good? Is it helping people? What's going on in terms of what's going on this page. So obviously, the higher the score, the better. But sometimes when we see a page that maybe it doesn't have a good page authority, it's not necessarily because it's a bad page. It just has to do with the fact that it just doesn't get seen a lot. And so one of the things I do, and I'll just share this with people, so going back to how are we going to optimize our website for a search engine? Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, I got to think like a search engine. Well, if I'm a search engine, I'm looking for information. And if I'm looking for information, wouldn't it be nice if there was just one page on a website that I could go to that has everything? It has the business name, the address, the phone number, the fax number, geolocation, what services they offer, everything that is about that business on one page. And so what I do is when I optimize a website, I build a page just for search engine, meaning it's invisible to the public. You can't access it from the website, but the search engine can. The search engine can read that page, and it has all the business's information in one spot. Everything, who owns the business, the location. I even go into longitude and latitude if it's a brick and mortar location. Now, if you're not brick and mortar, obviously you wouldn't put in longitude and latitude. But I mean, I put all the services or products or whatever is going on that particular business website. I build a page specific to a search engine so that when a search engine indexes that website, it goes, I found this page. It's got all the information I'm looking about. So it's just a strategy I use, because you got to imagine a search engine, when they're indexing a website, they have to go through each and every single page, okay? That's a big chore, and especially if you've got some websites that they got 100, 200,000 pages on it. Can you imagine how much work that is for a search engine to have to go through an entire website? It's a lot of work. And so if we can take this strategy of putting all the information on one page and make it easier, and this is something I tell people a lot, that's the whole point of search engine optimization, is make it easy for the search engine to read the information about your business. It is important because your information is the only thing the search engine has to know what your website is about. It's not a person. It's not like reading your website. Oh, go ahead.
A couple things I wanted to add to this is, like, Well, it gets back around to not just what you want to put on the internet. It gets back around to the strategy that where you're going to actually develop a clientele. And sometimes your website does not serve you if you try to give them too much information. So you might redesign your concept and design your campaign so that it focuses on the primary things that you offer, so you can get that into the category of the search that people are searching for, and so it's more relevant because you're not putting so much information. One of the things when you're building a website or a web page is that if you have too many keywords or too much information, you lessen your relevance. You thin down your relevance. Whereas if you focus on a few succinct points, your relevance for those keywords could be much higher. Now that's not always the case, but basically the more keywords, the less relevance. So watch what you saturate your pages with.
So, Roland, are you saying back to the days, I'm dating myself, of the mid-90s, are you saying that we should go back with our websites and make them more into brochureware, where it's like not as
Not at
much
all.
content, and or where we just like threw everything up there on the website and like had so much content, which I think that's what you're addressing now, that you may have too much content.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, and what I tell people is like, no, you don't want your encyclopedia online. You want an invitation for people to engage with you and focus on your main offers, the most important things, and not every little bit and piece is going to bring a client. And yes, there's a possibility that if you don't list everything, that you might miss 1 or 2% of the possible sales that you'll get. But in the meantime, you're diffusing the information regarding the primary thing that you sell so that it's less relevant and more complicated for the search engines to find the most important service or product that you sell.
And I would actually add to that, before time gets away from us, there's, as I mentioned, like with the algorithms, there's certain rules we have to adhere to. There's also rules we have to adhere to, like say for our title tag, and I'll just quickly share one of them. Okay, when you name a title tag on your website, that's just the name of the page, and there's one for each page of your website, you cannot exceed 69 characters. Description tag is crucial. This is what people see immediately after your organic result. And this is something I do that maybe a business hasn't thought of, but within a description tag, you roughly can, I usually tend to go below 150 characters. I believe you can use up to 155, but I like to stay within that threshold. Here's a neat tip. Instead of writing this long, glorious description, why not put your phone number at the very beginning of the description tag, so when somebody reads that organic results, bam, there's your phone number right there, right underneath that organic link. Put your email address, say call now, put a call to action right there, right underneath your organic result. And I see this happen a lot of times where, and it's just about knowledge and relevance, but they go into this long, hi, we're a family-owned business, we've been in business for 50 years, yada yada. Nobody cares about that. And I'm not trying to be crass. I'm just saying when somebody's searching for your business, they want a phone number, they want an email address, they want to be able to contact you. And so if you take the very beginning of that description tag and say, hey, here's my number, call me, email me. If you get text, you could put your cell phone number, text me. That's actually a good mobile strategy to use right there within the beginning of that description tag. And then going into the description, make sure and use some of those relevant keywords, because guess what? Within the description tag, you can put keywords and you're not going to get penalized. You can use as many keywords as you want, but just make sure you don't go over that 155 character limit. And then before I get, yep, go ahead.
I was going to say before we get into it even further, just for clarification too, I know there's different types of tags we talked about. You've got description tag. What is the difference between a description tag and an alt tag?
Okay, the description between a description tag and an alt tag is this. A description is basically a description about the website. It shows up right underneath the organic result. An alt tag is a tag that we use to describe a picture. So basically when a website looks at a website, it doesn't look at a website the way we look at it. When we look at it, we see a picture. But when a search engine looks at a website, it doesn't have eyes. So we have to tell it, hey, there's a picture of whatever right here, and we do that with the alt tag.
some flesh and bones. Basically, an alt tag comes from the terminology alternate text. It's an alt tag, and so when you tag it so that the search engine can actually determine what it is that's in the picture when they don't have any eyes to see it. So
So,
alt
Exactly.
tag simply means alternate text.
so would that be for folks out there who want to use, you're going to have a lot more images, not just your description, but your in terms of the pictures that you use, your images. Should that also be, Molly, would you suggest putting a phone number or some sort of contact information within that alt tag, or would you say that more is back to using keywords to see that that would help for the search?
Not necessarily. When we optimize for alt tags, we're really just trying to tell the search engine this is a picture of whatever. So like going back to my earlier example, like say you have a picture of flowers. So I would put something like flowers design right for you, because that would tell the search engine it's a picture of flowers and it's a picture on Design Right for You's website. So you're telling it, okay, it's a picture of flowers and this picture is on Design Right for You. So what actually happens is when the search engine indexes the website, it sees that
Mm-hmm.
there's a picture, it's called flowers, and it's on Design Right for You's website. So that's what I would do.
Meaning that's the owner of the picture, I would imagine, right? That's what
Exactly.
you're trying to emphasize, so that if someone types in flowers or Design Right for You and it looks under images within a Google search, all these images should be popping with with the company name on it, correct?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, if you can imagine, let's say your website has lots of pictures on it and you don't have any alt tags. You know what the search engine sees? Zero. Doesn't see them. Doesn't even acknowledge that those pictures are on your website because you haven't taken the time to optimize the alt tag. So, and it's real simple to do. It only takes like a couple minutes to just pop your picture in there, and this goes into HTML editors. I use Dreamweaver. WordPress is a different platform. They do have a way of being able to, but yeah, it's very important to get those alt tags optimized. And before we go too long, because I know we're getting towards the end of the hour, I quickly want to talk about sitemaps, XML sitemaps, and robot files. These are also two very crucial components to search engine optimization. Just to quickly describe what they are, a robot text file is just that. Now, a robot text file is a plain read-only file. All it does is it tells the search engine I want you to read my website this way. So we have a certain tag. It's called index follow. So with this particular tag, it basically means just go for it. Read my whole website. I don't have anything I want to hide from you. I want you to read every single page on my website. Now, you may have a website that you have sensitive information on. You don't want a search engine to index that page. So we can actually tell the search engine no index, no follow for those specific pages. Now, there's a whole list, and again, we could do a whole hangout on robot text files, but there's a whole list of different directives that you can tell a robot text file, which basically just tells a search engine how you want the website to be read by the search engine. Now, alternatively, we have something known as an XML sitemap. XML stands for Extensive Markup Language. Again, it's like a read-only file to a search engine. It's not a plain document, though, like a text file is an actual website document, but it's just called an XML document. And the sitemap is just that. It is a map of your website. It tells the search engine all the different pages on your website. And this is one thing I see happening a lot because, as business owners, we're constantly changing our website. We're adding pages, we're taking them away, but they don't update their sitemap. And this is crucial that if you decide to add or take pages away, that you're updating your XML sitemap accordingly. Because we don't want a search engine to read your sitemap and then go, oh, this page isn't here. Because then guess what happens? You get a penalty. You get a soft 404 error in your search console. And then you get to go, oh, I got a soft 404. I got to go do something. And it typically has to do with that sitemap because that sitemap is saying, hey, I've got, I don't know, a kitty cat page. You decided 6 years ago or 3 years ago to get rid of the kitty cat page, but you never updated it on the sitemap. And so when the search engine looks at it and goes, oh, there's supposed to be a kitty cat page here, and it's not here, you get a soft 404. And then that's where you would...
Another freeze. We're having some technical difficulties in the stream anyway. It's actually broken off the live feed 2 or 3 times since I've been watching, so I'm not sure what that's all about. Um, we had another freeze with you. So
Oh,
anyway, but I just wanted to wrap it up here. We're just about the end of our time. We're exactly 1 hour from the late start that we began it at 11:03. It's 12:03. But regarding our sessions next week, we're going to travel over to local search engine optimization. Does that include geo targeting, or we're going to deal with more of the concepts of geo
yes,
targeting? Because local search, of
yes.
course, more localized search. So we will be dealing with that subject and some more, and we'll touch bases on a few things. And if people have questions regarding anything that they heard, put them in the comment stream. We're going to continue to monitor what people are saying and what people are asking. Thank you very much, people, for adding links and stuff. Steli and Mezen gave a link to title tag guidelines and preview tool from the Moz organization, and you can take a look at that and find that in the comment stream. Thank you very much, Steli. And I guess we're just about wrapped up, and we covered primarily the concept of search engine optimization in general, and hopefully gave you an idea of what's going on, maybe a few insights as to how Google returns search. We don't usually ever deal with Bing or whatever, but I figure with two-thirds of the search going on in Google, you got to start there at least, and elsewhere you might find an advantage, but we'll let somebody else deal with that. That's more of a specialized thing. In the meantime, I think did anyone have a wrap up for today, or any comment regarding what's going on? Go ahead,
I,
Karen.
I was going to say, actually, Roland, the website is called Moz, not Moz. I think that's what you were saying. It's Moz, and the guy
I
who's
might have said
actually,
that, but I know it's Maz.
yeah, the guy that's in charge that I think everyone should be making sure that you follow if you're into SEO is Rand Fishkin. I mean, he does the Whiteboard Friday, which is awesome if you ever watch it. I mean, if anything you ever wanted to know about SEO, you just watch that 10 minutes. It's like a lesson every week to help you with learning about SEO.
Sure. And that there are probably a number of different talents out there giving great information. And you
I
have to
was,
vet this to make sure you're listening to the right people.
yeah, I was going to add to that Matt Storms, William Rock, John Mueller. Those are all people to watch for about SEO. Great stuff.
I think that the takeaway on listening to people talk about SEO is if you're a developer, listen to these people. If you're not a developer, if you're a person that's just doing a website, you want to listen to us, because we're not going to steer you wrong. But the concept is you want to have an idea of what the overall concept is with SEO, or whatever the concept is you're studying. Because if you don't, the next person in line can take you for a ride, and you'll never know it until it's too late. Go ahead, Molly. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, Barry Schwartz, that's another one. He actually has his own website dedicated to this subject. So,
Okay. Then coming from you, the people that you've mentioned, feel free to post them in the comment stream so that people can research it for themselves and find who's giving them some valuable information, and then that's great. So bringing it back around, the search engine optimization is all fine, but please, let's start off by vetting yourself. Make sure you're doing a good job with your product or service and being worthy of page one if you want to be on page one. And that's my personal message. Roland signing off for Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. Good day, everybody, and thank you very, very much for traveling from one event to the other and being with us today. See you now.